Hello everybody, welcome to the Gyrocopter Flying Club. News this week that AutoGyro filed in Germany for what's called preliminary insolvency to allow them to restructure their business. They hope to emerge from this in 3 months' time. Don't take my word for it though. Here to follow is AutoGyro's own video statement. Good luck AutoGyro, and given the general economic picture, I think you're going to need it.
Give you some insight in our final assembly line, what we're doing there. And after that, we're going to have an interview with our joint CEOs, Alexandra Witkowska and Gerry Speich. So let's go take a look at the final assembly line. As I just heard, we did have a tone problem. That's wonderful, isn't it? So hi again, AutoGyro family and friends here to our live stream from Hildesheim headquarters. Great to have you here. As I hear, we are more than 200 people already in the live stream. Some of you already know that AutoGyro filed preliminary insolvency end of last week. And we are doing this live stream to give you guys an insight and an update on what's going on here at the headquarters and what's going on with AutoGyro to kind of get some information out there instead of speculation. That's why we're having this live stream. We're going to take a look at our final assembly line, and after that we're going to have an interview with our joint CEOs, Alexandra Witkowska and Gerry Speich. So let's go take a look at our final assembly line. Hi, and welcome to Final Assembly. Let's see what the guys are doing here. This is where the gyros are being put together and where all these parts become a gyroplane, actually. Look at this beautiful blue one going to Kenya. You can still see up there is the balance gear on it. So it's already been in the fly-in. The rotor is on there. There's a couple things that need to be reworked, and then it's ready to get shipped. Somebody's going to have a lot of fun with it in Kenya. Flew it yesterday, flies great. Just since it goes to Kenya, it doesn't have an interior heating. Yesterday, 2 degrees, not that much fun, other than flies great. Over here, the MTO 217 with a 914 engine. We still build those. These are available with 914 or 915 engine. On special demand, you can have a 912 in as well. We do have the float extensions on here, which means somebody in Lithuania is going to have a lot of fun on the Baltic Sea, especially in summer. I think that'll be a blast, landing on the water and then just taxi up to the shore. The next two are the MTO Classic, the most ever built gyroplane in the world. There's more than 1,500 of them flying, and we are very proud of the model. We took it back into production this year due to popular demand. As you can see here, this is like the third stage. So the engine's already been put in. Here we are putting in the wiring and the steering so that we can, on the next stage, bring the gyro to life for the first time. That's when we switch on the electricity, check the avionics, get the cockpit going From there, it finds its way outside, where we start the engine up for the first time, make sure that the carburetors are synchronized and everything works nice and well there. Here you see basically the same gyro, going to France as well, as I just said, in an earlier stage. And the difference here is, you see there's no stabilizer on it yet, the wiring is not finished, and Sebastian is still installing the engine, making sure that somebody has the thrust he needs. Over here, that is the first stage. This is where we put the gear on, the tail on, and get it ready to put the engine in the next stage. So let's get back to the showroom and talk to Gerry and Alexandra. Markus? So, back again. Hi Alexandra, hi Gerry, how are you guys today?
Hello Matthias, and hello to the AutoGyro family as well. Honestly, rather tired and just a little bit stressed. How about you?
Yes, I mean, we have had a very difficult and emotional past few weeks indeed.
I can see that. Well, let's just get to it. What were the reasons to take this step?
Well, first of all, to answer one obvious question, this is not a bankruptcy and this is not a business closure. This is a process whereby a company is able to restructure itself and its debts under the management of a court-appointed lawyer.
This is a 3-month period now throughout which the employee salaries are paid. That allows us the time and funds to agree the way forward with the court and with our stakeholders. We plan to leave this process beginning of March 2021 in a sound financial position to secure for the upcoming year and for many to come.
Great. So this all seems to be a control process very well under control then. We just saw the final assembly line was like a lot of work there. There's a lot of gyros being built, being delivered. So I guess the question is, why at this time insolvency?
Well, to go back a little bit on that, we should perhaps discuss the reasons that there are to take for this next step. It's been a very tough year. COVID-19 in all our markets, political uncertainty in many, and a significant resultant reduction in our order book. We've taken many steps over the last couple of years to actually reduce our internal costs and overheads, and this year we've trimmed harsh again, but...
Well, there comes a point where the only way forward for the company is to reset. And as mentioned before, this has been a very difficult and hard decision for the both of us to make, but unfortunately we couldn't find any other solution. And the decision had to be eventually made, and I believe that we made the best for the business.
But we are really fully aware that this decision doesn't just affect Hildesheim, but it affects our entire family around the world. It's a difficult time for us and it'll be a difficult time together, but we can get through it and the future, I think, is looking bright.
Sounds great. I guess one of the most important questions for the people out there, for our customers that have made down payments or that are going to make down payments because we're still selling and building gyros, what happens to this money? Is that safe?
I think we just have to get back. We didn't actually answer your questions about why at this time insolvency. So I'd like to, Alexandra, do you want to answer that one?
Sure. Our task as managing directors under current situation is to pick the right time, the right moment to give the best opportunity of survival and secure future for the business, and also meeting the requirements of the German very strict law.
Yes, very strict it is too. So after a lot of consultation with our stakeholders, with our board and with our legal team, the time just had to be now. There was no real choice in doing it. It had to be now. So then to answer your next question, do you want to just ask that question again so we can come back to that one, please?
It was about the down payments that we already have collected and that we will collect it. Like I said earlier, we're still selling gyros, we're still building gyros. So what happens to this money? Is that safe with us?
Yes, so to answer your question, all deposits are now placed with the bank account of the local court that is independent of AutoGyro. This is a very strictly government-controlled process now. So that means that the money of our customers is safe and that all aircraft on order will be delivered on time. Not only aircraft, but also spare parts. That also enable us to guarantee supplier funds so that we can actually fulfill the customer orders.
So our customers that buy that gyro are actually going to get it with an engine because we're able to pay our suppliers?
Definitely, yes.
It's probably really good news. We just touched the spare parts part a little bit, and I guess that's another very important question that the people have out there and that they need to know about. Am I still getting spare parts? Are you still sending out spare parts? Are they still being produced?
Yeah, I think it's for me. Okay, so as with the aircraft, all the spare parts are paid up front in the normal manner and funds secured with the court.
Front, I just want to make that clear. That was a process we actually started before because we found out that works a lot better that way and makes the process faster.
Absolutely. We started that at the beginning of this year, and the result has been a far faster turnaround of spare parts, far more effective management of the process. It's worked very well.
So just wanted to make sure that has nothing to do with the process we are in right now.
Nothing whatsoever. I should say that the Hildesheim spare parts team and the factory processes to make them are still working hard to support you and your aircraft wherever you are in the world.
That sounds really great. So another question that popped up a couple of times, what happens to warranty of the recently delivered airplanes?
Yes, I'm sure it's worry a lot of people. Warranty provisions are enshrined in law. That's not something which we can change or really affect. AutoGyro will follow those rules as interpreted by the court-appointed lawyer. I can't say simpler and clearer than that.
Yeah, well, yeah. I guess so, you know. So I guess the big question, and I had some feedback over the internet. It was numerous phone calls. Everybody was calling me, as they were most likely calling you guys too, trying to find out what's going on there. What can you tell us about the way forward? Where are we going from here?
Well, we recognize that the AutoGyro family is indeed very extensive. We only here in Hildesheim we have 78 people who are designing and producing the aircraft, but there are many hundreds or even thousands more pilots, instructors, suppliers that are involved in the business of ours. So we recognize that their livelihood depends on AutoGyro. And for many years, as AutoGyro's success has been the success of all of us, now unfortunately the difficulties of our company are also each and every one of our partners. So in order to get out of this situation, we now count again on the family of AutoGyro to help to support us, to give us an understanding in those difficult times, and then therefore place their orders.
Okay, but the way forward is actually based on predicted sales forecasts from our partners all around the world, and it also includes the demand for commercial gyroplane parts in China, which is these days one of our bigger markets. These forecasts also include the next steps of several development, if you like, projects around the world, including law enforcement and border patrol, primarily actually one of the biggest markets for that is in the USA.
Gerry, we've been there before because we have like a couple of Kaleidos flying for police departments. I think it's one or two MT Sports as well. But for some reason, these projects with law enforcement, they never really started going into bigger numbers. What is different now than it was before?
There's one key word there, and that's certification. Okay. Whilst, of course, we're flying the aircraft now with 915 engines, which gives a lot more power and therefore a bigger payload, the big difference is certification. In the North American market, all aircraft, all gyroplanes up until now have been experimental, but our aircraft now carry a certificate of airworthiness by the FAA. That means that it's much easier to get financing for the aircraft, easier to get insurance, and is a much more accepted way of operating the aircraft on things like law enforcement service, border patrol service, and all those different types of aerial work.
So, commercial work is explicitly legal with our aircraft?
Absolutely. We can't carry goods and we can't carry commercial passengers, but everything else we can do with our aircraft across the whole of North America.
It's not going to be the AutoGyro airline, but anything but that.
Absolutely, anything like that. And that's just one of the things we're working with. The aircraft have already been proven successful at this. And the other one, for instance, is the agric aircraft for crop spraying, where we're operating in Costa Rica. You're aware of that one?
Yeah, they're spraying bananas there, and they're doing it actually quite successfully. I think they got 3 or 4 working already.
That's right. And then the latest project, which we've been completely stymied by COVID-19, is the Terminator, which is specifically developed for spraying locusts to try and control the locust plagues in Africa. It's taken an awful lot of development and energy at the start of this year, and the aircraft is still waiting for deployment.
I know. You told me so often that we're going to go, and then, yeah, it's COVID. No, we can't go. It's COVID. Yeah, no, we can't go. And I think that's basically went on all year.
That's right, but we're now looking to do that early part of 2021, and it's a very, very exciting project.
So you make sure to tell me up front so I can tell my wife and get a permission to travel.
Now, of course, we also recognise that we have to improve our processes and products. We can't just look out in the market for improvements. And the Hildesheim team has implemented many significant improvements. Together with the 915 RS, we believe our aircraft offers an excellent package for recreational enjoyment, but also for harsh commercial use. And of course, you, Matthias, test that aircraft day in, day out, flying backwards and forwards to your home base.
Well, yeah, I put 300 hours on this one this year, and I'm quite happy with it. Cruising at 100 knots, it's quite comfortable. I love it. And you know, whenever I cross the Autobahn and there's this huge big traffic jam there, you go like, yeah, not so much up here. And instead of driving 3 hours, it takes me an hour and a half to fly from Mainz to Hildesheim or back. So I sure really love that. And especially with a 915, I get travel speeds I'm not used to.
That's right. You can tell that he loves the aircraft. We can't get him out of it. But we also have the relaunched the MTO Sport Classic, the original 2010, a much loved aircraft and back in production again, just due to popular demand. So this means that AutoGyro, both in Hildesheim and for you around the world, has the product and the resources for the future market needs.
I just would like to add that we very much count on your support and understanding in this very difficult situation, and I hope that we will make it all together.
That's the point. We do it together with the AutoGyro family.
I'm sure we will. Alexander, Gerry, thank you so much for being here and answering these questions. I'm very sure that most of the people like to hear the news, and probably get back to you soon with new updates. What I'd like to do is I'd like to thank everybody for the great support that we've seen on social media, on emails, on phone calls, everybody holding their sums, and they reached out and said, yeah, you're going to make it. That was just great. It's wonderful to be a part of a great team here at AutoGyro that really sticks together and builds your great gyroplanes. And well, AutoGyro family, let's do what families do best when it gets hard. Let's stand together. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon.
Thank you.